And my friends were all like, nah, he's just being controlling. Like, he just wants to make sure that you're not doing something that he doesn't know about. Like, he's legit just, he's on the phone with you because he wants to make sure that he knows what you're doing. The minute you put the phone down, he doesn't know what you're doing. And that's what he's doing. It's not cute. It's side.
Follow you. Follow. I need you right now.
Hey Huns, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Khosi S. You Bangani. To the new subscribers, welcome to the family. To the returning subscribers, all the kisses for you guys. Okay, so today is a little different. Today I'm doing story time for you guys. I've had a few people actually ask me, a couple of people in the comment section asked me if I could do a story time, and some even fetched me in the DMs on Insta, and some came straight to my WhatsApp, you know. And I guess the few that are clients of mine, they asked me on my story if I could, on my WhatsApp, if I could do story time. Now, if you know me, you know I'm not that exciting of a person. Like, my life is quite boring. I don't have a lot of stories to tell, but also I have nightmares about stuff coming back to haunt me later. So, like, I just worry about putting my stuff out there, you know. So, but guys, I just hit 30,000 on Instagram. I am so excited, you don't even understand. So you can see my balloon sort of at the top, at the back there. So I was taking pictures last night, and yeah, like let me just be honest with you guys. I did record another story time, but I just don't have the guts to post it yet. So for now, it's sitting in editing, and depending on how this one goes, I'll decide if I'm gonna post another one, you know. So I'm not the greatest person at telling stories, but I'm going to try now. This one Bangani. So guys, I'm gonna tell you about the first time I ever caught hands from a guy. Yeah, and I said first time because it wasn't the last time. So this guy, like, this happened when I was still in the UK. I mean, I left home when I was about, I think 19 or 20 at the time, I can't remember. But yeah, I left home, I think I did a gap year after matric, and then I went to the UK. Because my parents, like, they weren't vibing with this beauty therapy thing that I wanted to study. They just felt like, nah. So I was like, okay, peace out. Like, I'm not gonna do something just for the sake of having a degree on the wall. Because, you know, my parents are academic, if I may put it that way. You know, my dad's an engineer, my mom's a teacher. So they believe in, like, the book. Anyways, we had that fight, and I left. Not left and a half, but like, I just took a gap year, turned into 3 years. And that's where I met Michael. So I'm gonna give you a small back chat. Okay, so I moved to the UK. This was, I think, probably in 2002 or thereabouts, yeah. I moved to the UK and I stayed there for 3 years. So while I was there, I think it was probably like a year or so into my stay, I moved to the West Midlands. And when I moved to the West Midlands, I was working at a bar. I was working in a pub. And yeah, so if you ever want to take me on with snooker or anything like that, like, I'm a G, like, I learned how to play in the pub. So anyways, I started working there, and like, the kind of pub that it was, like, they got a lot of like Africans there. Like, people would always pass by there because the lady that owned it was actually from here, from Swati, but she had, you know, relocated there and stuff like that. So she was a family friend, and when I was moving, she offered me a place to stay, and then I was working there and stuff like that, because there was like an apartment above the pub. So I stayed there. So like, this guy used to come in, and like, he'd come to the bar and stuff like that. And I mean, he was young and he was cute, and you know, he would talk to me and stuff like that. Like, he didn't live in my town. I lived in Leamington. He lived in Coventry, which was like not far. It was just like a few minutes on the train. And yeah, so Michael and I started talking, and yeah, we started dating actually. And I remember my friend at the time, in fact, all my friends at the time, we used to like all hang out together on weekends. One of them lived in the flat above mine, in the same pub. So there was like a flat above the pub, and then there was like another like attic kind of flat right at the top, and that's where they lived. So she lived there with her boyfriend. So we'd all hang out and stuff like that. And so like every time when I would hang out with my friends, like he would call me and like would keep me on the phone for like an hour and stuff like that. And I mean, I thought it was cute. I thought like, you know, this guy really likes me, you know, he's just interested in getting to know me. And my friends were all like, nah, he's just being controlling. Like, he just wants to make sure that you're not doing something that he doesn't know about. Like, he's legit just, he's on the phone with you because he wants to make sure that he knows what you're doing. The minute you put the phone down, he doesn't know what you're doing, and that's what he's doing. It's not cute, it's psycho. And I was just like, nah, you're lying, you know. I just felt like, no, like, just give him a chance and stuff like that. Like, you don't have to. Okay, cool. That happens for a while, and then, you know, it starts to get tired. Like, you can't be calling me every time when I'm with my friends and keeping me on the phone for an hour to, like, it's rude. You can't be going to people's houses and then like you're on the phone with your boyfriend for like an hour. So, you know, the first time we got into a fight about it, like when I complained about it, he was just like, is he dating me or is he dating my friends? You know, like he just wasn't receptive to it. He just felt like, listen, at the end of the day, you're my girlfriend, and if I want to call you, I'm going to call you. And if you don't answer, then we're going to have problems, basically. And okay, I'll fast forward anyways. That all happened. And then I decided to break things off because I was like, you know what, like this isn't working for me. You know, I can't do that. And I broke up with him. And I moved on with my life. He would call me, he would text me, like he would blow up my phone, and I was just like, listen, I'm not interested. And then this cousin of mine who also lived there at the time, she got married basically. She was getting married, but like her mom and dad didn't know. Don't ask. So anyway, she was getting married to her boyfriend, but like they didn't want the parents to know. And me, I was there to put my John Hancock on the so anyway, organized everything. We traveled to Coventry that day for everything to happen. We go, we sign, it's beautiful, it's amazing, it's whatever. And he's blowing up my phone, guys. Like he's blowing up my phone. He's texting, he's calling, I'm not answering, and he's like, I'm outside your flat. And I'm just like, what are you doing outside my flat, first of all? And he's like, yeah, and if you don't open it, I'm gonna break down this door. And I said, well, look, at the end of the day, if you wanna break down the door, go ahead. But just understand that you're gonna have to pay for it, you know? My mom's always said my mouth would get me into trouble one day. I didn't think it was actually going to happen. So anyway, he's calling my phone. And then eventually I say to, you know, my cousin, my sister, I'm like, listen, I think I'm going to have to go because like, he's really annoying me. Like, I just want to find out what he wants at this point. So he calls and I'm like, listen, I'm on my way. Like, I don't know what you want, but yeah, I'm on my way. He's like, oh, I remember. He said he wanted his things. He said his things were in my flat. And I'm like, what things? Like, he left a couple of things, but like nothing that needed. It was probably like an old t-shirt. And I think he'd left some CDs or something, but like not a lot. I think it was like 2 CDs or 1. Like he just wanted an excuse to come to my flat. So anyways, we get back to Leamington. They come inside. They sit around for a little bit and then they leave. This is now my sister and now her new husband. They leave. And I don't even think that they had made it to the car from where they parked, and then I heard the doorbell go. So I knew that was him. So I buzzed him in because to get into my flat at the time, there was the first door, which is off the street. So there was one street going right through Leamington. It's a small little town, guys, like just one high street that went from the top of town all the way to the other side. And off the main road, like, was my flat door, and then there was like a little passage because there were stairs that went up to the flat above mine and the flat above that one. So I was at the bottom. Sorry. Sorry, wrong pipe. So anyway, so then you would walk past the stairs to get to my flat. So there was like a little passage basically. So there was the front door and my door, and then you would get into my flat. He comes in, and when he comes in, I can see he's been drinking. But I'm like, you know what, like, what's the worst that could happen, you know? But like, I've never seen him like that. Like, we had one incident, I remember, at a party, me and him, and we'd had a fight about something. And I don't know, like, he spoke sideways to me, and I responded, and he kind of like shoved me. That was like the first time I ever saw he had like a temper, but he kind of quickly dialed it back and was like sorry about it. And I was just like, oh, okay, maybe he just let his emotions get the better of him. I mean, at that stage, I hadn't entirely been exposed to what someone can be capable of, to what a man can be capable of, even when he says he loves you. So anyways, I let him in. He comes inside and he's carrying a bottle of Alizé. Guys, at the time, Snoop had this Alizé Chwala that everybody used to drink because it was cool. It was sweet. It was like, it came in flavors like granadilla or passion fruit or something like that. And he was carrying that. And I remember it was like a dark purple. So I can't remember the flavor, but I remember it was like a berry sort of color. So he comes in and he just kicks off with me and he's like, so what were you doing today? I know you were with someone else. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not even the case. That's first of all. Secondly is, why do you even care? Because we're not together. Whoop. And then that was like, you know, I must have like touched a nerve. And he's like, oh, you wanna fuck with me? You wanna fuck with me? And I'm just like, bruh, you came here because you claim there's like your things in this house. So my thing is take them so that you can go, because I don't understand why you and I are going back and forth. Because honestly, if I was with someone else, what's it to you? Like, what's it to you? Okay, and then like he starts getting like rowdy. And then he's like, if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna pour this drink all over your head. And I'm just like, so I turned around and I said to him, I'm like, first of all, that would be a waste of perfectly good alcohol. But also, like, why would you do that? And I remember I was wearing a white shirt with a pencil skirt, a black one, which was like high-waisted at the time. Did that man not pour that drink all over my head? As in, poured it all over my head. And then I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what is your fucking problem? And then, like, I turned around and he was like, if you walk away from me, you're gonna regret it. And I just turned around and I looked at him and I was like, please, you know, hey, that clap, that first clap, like the one where you see the heavens, the one, and then you get that sound in your ear. Nzala, that was me. From the back, Pela, roundhouse clap. Wow. Hey. I turned around. Guys, after that, things happened so quickly. I don't even remember really exactly what happened, but we got into it. He pushed me up against the wall and he had his hand on my throat. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill you. You're seeing somebody else. You know, if I can't have you, nobody else can. This man was going nuts. And then I used to have, because I was living in like a little bachelor apartment. So I had like my studio couch. So during the day, it was like a couch. And then I would just open it up at night and like put my bedding and stuff. I mean, I was a young kid. So anyway, I had this standing lamp. I remember I had bought it at IKEA. You know those ones with the thick base? And then it stands and then it's got like a little thingy and the bulb is inside at the top. I had one of those. Did he not pick it up? I said, I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna fuck you up. And I'm like, hypo. Like, let's talk about this. Like, I don't understand. Like, why are you being like this? Guys, in that moment, I had to fight for my life. So he came at me. So he had like the bar now against my neck and he's pushing me against the wall. And I thought, okay, I can try scratching his face, but I don't think that's gonna work. So I did the only thing that I could think of at the time. I grabbed that man's nuts and I squeezed, I yanked, I pulled, I twisted, I did everything until he let go. Like he threw the lamp on the ground, and in my head I was like, you know what, if I don't get out of here, this man is gonna kill me. I ran, guys. I didn't even look back. Luckily, I hadn't closed, I hadn't locked the door. So my front door, it had you just opened it with a key. So it was still open. It didn't have those locks that lock, when you close, if you don't have the door, if you don't have the key, you're not able to reopen it. I don't know if I'm making sense. Anyways, that was for the front door, so that whoever went out, they couldn't just open the door back in. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I ran. Hey, I ran, I fell, I tripped, and I heard him behind me. I yanked the door open and literally fell into the street. This man is behind me. Right next to my door, there was a pizza place. Pizza stroke kebabs, whatever. There was a place right next to my door. I get into the street. He pulls me. I fell into the street. And when he pulled me, when I was standing outside, and obviously the door then locked, so we couldn't get back inside. And my keys and everything is inside. So now we're locked out. This man starts beating me, guys, in the middle of the street, the sidewalk, mdagabao, me. I'm getting my ass handed to me, clap after clap after clap. And then I was like, you know what? I need to do something. I need to make traffic stop. I ran into the road. You remember I told you guys there was a high street that ran the length of the town? I ran into that road. I didn't know if the traffic lights that were before that were open, closed. I didn't know if there was a car speeding. I just know that I needed this to stop. I ran into the road. Cars honked. They stopped. Yay. And then he yanks me out of the road. He came after me. Yeah. Even after he comes after me, he pulls me out of the road. And then he starts kicking me. And I remember that he kicked me right in the eye. He kicked me right in the eye because this eye blacked out. I couldn't see anything. And yeah, I think 5 minutes after that, because the police station wasn't actually far from where I lived. You could walk there. It was probably maybe a kilometer at most. Next thing, there's cop cars. There's cars coming. They come, they apprehend him, but he's fighting. This guy was mad. He was angry about something, I don't know. And he was enraged. He wanted to kill me, bro. So anyways, the cops eventually managed to hold him down. He got into the cop car, apparently took pepper spray and all sorts. I got taken by ambulance to the hospital. They did x-rays to make sure that nothing was broken. My eye, I was bruised up. I was beat up, busted lip, swollen lip, my hand, he'd stepped on my hand. And when he kicked me in the eye, guys, this guy always used to wear Timberlands. Timberlands were his thing. But on that day, he was wearing those sliders, those Adidas sliders with socks. And it was all the rage then, all the rappers walking around like that with their saggy pants and those socks with the sliders. He was just exactly like that. Can you imagine if he had been wearing Timberlands with the kind of damage that he would have done to me? You would think it would end there. Okay, I get back to my flat and I can't sleep there. So now I go back to my friends. Remember the ones that lived above the pub? I went and I stayed with them for a little bit. And I slept there that night. And when I slept there that night, the next morning, her cousin, April, says to me, okay, let me take you to the flat so you can get a change of clothes. And you can stay with me for a couple of weeks until we figure out the stay. When we drive past my flat, he's standing at my door, knocking. So he's obviously been let out. Okay, cool. We leave. And then literally they had to go back the next week and move everything for me. Like, I couldn't even be in that flat. I was so triggered. And they were also just like, no, you're not going back there. Like, if this guy has the nerve to show up at your flat the next day after getting arrested for beating you up, and by the way, he told the cops that I was a drug something, I was into drugs and I had got beat up by my drug dealer, and now I was trying to blame him. Hey, a long story. So anyway, he comes out. Okay, I'll fast forward a little bit again. So then I started working in Birmingham. I got a job in Birmingham with an insurance company, a car insurance company, and I started working there. And I had changed numbers. I had moved. I had done everything to make sure that this guy could not find me. I go to work, and there was one day I came back. And I came back, and when I got out of the train and I was walking out of the train station, who is standing there? Michael. My heart, guys. And the thing was, I didn't feel safe, even though I was in a public space, because the last time him and I had an encounter was in public, and nobody had helped me until the cops came. So I didn't necessarily feel like, oh, there's safety in numbers. So I panicked. And then I called Anna, and Anna called her boyfriend at the time, Jim, and told him to quickly, like, he was at home because he used to fit windows. So he was like a big guy. And the train station was like literally 2 minutes from where they lived, the pub up the road. He was there in like less than 5 minutes, towering over this guy on some, do we have a fucking problem? And he tried to be like, no, I just wanted to talk to her, and he was just like, if I ever see you in this town again, okay, cool. I don't hear from him for a while. Okay, I continue, like maybe 6 months later. So this is now maybe like in, I don't know, like March or April of that year. Okay, I'm working, and then I'm told that I have to go downstairs. There's a walk-in client, because sometimes clients would walk up off the street and request a quote for their car. So I was assigned to go downstairs and attend to the client and do this quote and stuff like that. I get downstairs. And when you're not like really concentrating, like I was looking down, I think I was trying to get my access card so that I could buzz myself out and then go to the reception and ask who this person was. When I looked up, guys, Michael, there in the reception of the work that I've never told him where I am. I've changed so many things about my life just to avoid him. Being a woman is really tough in this world, guys. But anyway, so I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, what do you want? And he's like, please, can you just keep your voice down? Like, he's just here because he's having some problems finding work. And I'm like, and what's that got to do with me? Oh, I forgot to tell you guys that the police dropped the charges on him because it was his first offense. That's what I was told. That they dropped the charges of his assault against me because it was his first offense and he had no priors. And I put it here. I said, big shop, I moved on with my life. Now this man is standing in front of me at my workplace, telling me that he came to me because he's having problems finding work. And I'm like, what does that have to do with me? And then he's like, the problem is that every time they do a background check, the assault charge comes up. And I'm like, assault charge? What assault charge? And he's like, the cops reopened the case because they got hold of the CCTV footage. This is why I love international level things where there's CCTV footage that captures everything. So after he told them that I had got beat up by my drug dealer, they got a hold of the CCTV footage, and the number that they had for me at the time, obviously I had changed because of trying to avoid him. So the cops wouldn't have had my new number, or they hadn't tried all that hard to find me. I still don't know to this day, how Michael actually found me and where I worked. And I was like, listen, I'm sorry that you're having such problems, but there's nothing I can do for you because first of all, I didn't open that case. Secondly, this is the first I'm hearing of it. So, and thirdly, you did it. So honestly, why should I help you? I'm not going to tell them that you didn't do it. It's the cops that have opened the case, not me. So if they've got a case against you, I don't understand what that has to do with me because you're telling me that they've reopened the charges based on camera footage. How on earth do you expect me to help you? And I said, look, I'm leaving. Like, I'm not doing this with you. I left and yeah, I went back and I told my team leader, I sat him down, like, cause I was shaking. Like the minute I walked and I got inside the elevator, like I crumbled. I felt so violated. I felt so like, you know, like I was never going to be safe anyway from this guy. Like nobody knew where I worked and all of those things. And I had done that specifically because, you know, he was crazy. So anyways, I spoke to my team leader. I was given the rest of the day off. And every day after that, him or the other team leader that used to also manage us would have to walk me to the train station, and then on the other side, one of my friends would have to meet me at the train station so that I could get home. Like that was no life. Like there was no quality of life. Like now I'm being watched and, you know, all these things. Like it just didn't seem fair. So I made the decision to come back home. And that was like at around September. And I just was like, no, this is not what I signed up for. Like, I can't be watching my back like this for the rest of my life. Like, it makes no sense, you know? So I made the decision to come back. I left, I came back home. That December, I got a call that he had been in a car accident and unfortunately he hadn't made it. So yeah, that was sad, guys. Like, yeah, he passed away. Like, and it was like when they explained the way that he passed away, it just seemed, it was very strange. Like, it just seemed like there was something more that could have been done, but like, anyways. So yeah, guys, that's the tea. That's how I caught hands for the first time ever in my life. The shock of my life, and I don't wish that on anyone. The fear, the like the anxiety that comes after it, and like just the distrust, and yeah, man, like it's not a good place to be. But yeah, guys, story time has been fun and all, but I don't know how people tell like all their stories all the time. Like this was taxing for me, guys. It was a lot. Anyway, guys, we're at the end of our video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to your girl's channel. Tell a Hun to come and join the family. Guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much for your support and watching to the end of this video. I will see you guys soon. Don't forget to click on that bell so you guys know what's coming next. Bye.